to Servants by Robert Frost. I didn't make you know how glad I was to have you come and camp here on our land. I promised myself to get out someday and see the way you lived. But I don't know. With a house full of hungry men to feed, I guess you'd find. I see it's to me. I can't express my feelings anymore. Then I can raise my voice or want to lift my hand. Oh, I can lift it when I have to. Did ever you feel so? I hope you never. It's got so I don't even know for sure whether I'm glad, sorry, or anything. There's nothing but a voice, like left inside, that seems to tell me how I ought to feel. I would feel if wasn't all gone wrong. You take the lake. I look and look at it. I see it's a fair, pretty sheet of water. I stand and make myself repeat out loud the advantages it has, so long and narrow, like a deep piece of some old running river, cut short of both ends. It lies 5 miles straight away through the mountain notch, from the sink window where we wash the plates, and all our storms come up toward the house, drawing the slow waves whither and whither and whither. It took my mind off donuts and soda biscuit to step outdoors and take the water dazzle. A sunny morning, or take the rising wind, about my face and body and through my wrapper, when a storm threatened from a dragon's den, and a cold chill shiver across the lake, I see it's a fair, pretty sheet of water. Our willow-by, how did you hear of it? I expect, though, everyone's heard of it. In a book about ferns? Listen to that! You let things more like feathers regulate. You're going and coming, and you like it here. I can see how you might, but I don't know. It would be different if more people came. For then, there would be business, as it is. The cottages land built. Sometimes we rent them, sometimes we don't. We've got a piece of shore that ought to be worth something, and may yet. But I don't count on it as much as Len. He looks on the bright side of everything, including me. He thinks I'll be all right with doctoring, but it's not medicine. Lau is the only doctor dared to say so. It's rest I want. There, from doing things over and over that just won't stay done. By good rights, I ought not to have so much put on me, but there seems no other way. Lem says one steady pull more ought to do it. He says the best way out is always through, and I agree to that, or in so far. As that I can see now, way about through, lest waits for me, and then they'll be convinced it's not the land don't want the best for me. It was this plan our moving over in, beside the lake, from where the day I showed you we used to live, 10 miles from anywhere. We didn't change without some sacrifice, but Len changed without some sacrifice. His works of man, of course, from sun to sun, but he works when he works as hard as I do. Though there's a small profit in comparisons. But work ain't all. Len undertakes too much. He's into everything in town. This year it's highways, and he's got too many men around him to look after what to make waste. They take advantage of him shamefully, and proud too of themselves for doing so. We have 4 here to birth, great good for nothings, sprawling about the kitchen with their talk, while I fry with their bacon. Much they care, no more put out in the way, do what they say, than if I wasn't in the room at all, coming and going all the time they are. I don't learn what their names are, let alone their characters, or whether they are safe. To have inside the house with doors unlocked, I'm not afraid of them, though if they're not afraid of me, there's two can play of at that. I have my fancies. It runs in the family. My brother wasn't right. They kept him, locked up for years back there at the old farm. I've been always once, yes, I've been away. The state Iceland. I was prejudiced. I wouldn't have sent anyone of mine there. You know all the old idea, the only asylum, was the poor house. And those who could afford, rather than send their folks to such a place, kept them at home. And it doesn't seem more human, but it's not so. The place is the asylum. There they have every means proper to do with, and you are darkening others people's lives. Worse than no good to them, and they no good. To you in your condition, you can't know affection or the want of it in the state. I've heard too much of the old-fashioned way. My father's brother went and make mad quite young. Some thought he had been bitten by a dog, because his violence took on the form of carrying his pillow in his teeth. But it's more likely to we have crushed on love, or so the story goes. It was some girl. Anyway, all he talked about was love. They soon saw he would do something of mischief, and he would keep strict watch of, and it ended in his father's building him a sort of cage, or room within a room, of hickory poles, like stanchions in the barn, from floor to ceiling, a narrow passage all the way around. Anything they put in for furniture, he cheered to pieces, even on a bed to lie on. So they made a place comfort with straw, like a beast's stall, to ease their consciences. Of course they have to him without dishes. They tried to keep him clothed, but he paraded, with his clothes on his arm, all of his clothes. Cruel it sounds. I suppose they did the best they knew. And just when he was right at the height, father and mother married, and the mother came, a bride, to help take care of such a creature, and accommodate her young life to his. That was what marrying father meant to her. She had to lie on her love things made dreadful by his shouts in the night. He'd shout and shout until the strength was shouted out of him, and his voice died down slowly from exhaustion. He'd pull his bars apart like a bow and bowstring, and let them go and make them twang until his hands had worn them smooth as any ox bow. He was before my time. I never saw him, but the pen stayed exactly as it was. There in the upper chamber in the ale, a sword catch all full of attic clutter. It's time! I took my turns upstairs in jail, just as you will, till it becomes a habit. No wonder I was glad to get away. Mind you, I waited till Len said the word. Somehow, the change wore out like a prescription, and there's more to it than just windows views, and living by a lake, and past such help. Unless Len took the notion, which he won't, and I won't ask him, he's not sure enough. I suppose I've got to go the road I'm going. Other folks have too, and why shouldn't I? I almost think if I could do like you. I've lain awake thinking of you. I'll warrant, more than you have yourself. Some of these nights, the wonder was the tents weren't snatched away from over you as you lay in your beds. I haven't courage for risk like that. Bless you, of course. You're keeping me from work, but the thing of it is, I need to be kept. There's work enough to do, there's always that. But behind, the worst that you can do is set me back a little more behind. I shan't catch up in this world anyway. I'd rather you not go unless you must. Thank you.